Yes! And welcome back. I told you guys we're coming back. So, right now we are in our normal live stream, every Saturday night live stream. So, now that we are here, we are going to have a special guest for tonight as well. And we are going to talk about how to love yourself. And if you have any questions, or if you have any struggles, or if you even have any idea of how to love yourself, please let us know in the live chat down below. Interact with us. And this is a topic that I think we should actually have a conversation and discussion about, because I think loving yourself has become super like overblown. The meaning of loving yourself is, for me, it seems like the meaning of it kind of get lost, with people that are what, basta yun na yun, guys. Ayan, Saturday morning for me. And of course, it's still Saturday right now in Japan. And time check, it's 10:41 p.m. in Japan. How about you guys? What are the time in your country? Let me know, ayan. Also, if you are watching this on replay, let me know in the comments down below where you are from. And of course, without further ado, guys, please welcome our special guest for tonight. I believe this is the first time he's here in our live stream. So please welcome Servo Survivor.
Hello, everyone. Servo Survivor here. Thanks for having me on. Nice to finally meet you.
Now you have to dance. Does that true that white, like, there's a stereotype? I know this is very, very bad to start with, but I want to know this just to kind of like break whatever, because I want to like dig deep into this love yourself theory. So, is it true the stereotype of white people can't dance? Or is that pretty bad if you say that to a white person?
I don't care. I can't be offended at this point in my life, so I don't really care personally. So, yeah, it's true, I guess, unless you're a professional in that area. But me personally, yeah, that's definitely true.
So you've never danced. But of course, this is your first time. But you've been a live streamer, right? But not on YouTube, but on Twitch.
Yeah, I never really did anything with my channel on here, even when I started streaming, outside of just being like, hey guys, I'm live on Twitch. Come over there. Screw YouTube. I didn't say that out loud, did I? Yeah, I don't know. I just I got interested in watching Twitch back in like 2014, and then sorry if I don't look at the camera, I haven't been on live cam with like my face showing in a hot minute. So I had to, polish the dome and make sure I look pretty. So, And
That's kind of cool.
yeah, I make a
But
lot of stupid jokes.
anyways,
Yeah.
so the thing is, well, you're not really on a hot seat. So you can actually like relax right now because this is just going to be a conversation. Because the thing is, when it comes to love yourself, do you think the same thing like me, where whenever someone would say love yourself, and the thing is, nowadays, when it comes to mental health, it seems to be like it's like self love, self care, and all of that things. Do you think the meaning of loving yourself at this point become so overblown? I don't know if I'm using the word overblown the right
No, I
way,
mean,
but
yeah,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I think so many things, especially online now, they tend to get so overused so quickly because for some reason attention spans are only getting shorter these days, in my opinion. Because like
true, true,
people complain about 5-minute YouTube videos because they can only tolerate 15-second TikTok videos. So
true that.
but I think a lot of things just get so overused so quickly these days that you almost like someone who's 20 years old would have trouble keeping up at this point. And I think when it comes to like the kind of like mental health thing, I've gotten, I'm not trying to be mean, but I also don't care at the same time. It's like I've gotten so sick of people being like, mental health, and then using it now when it's used in good context and it is actually for, like just being happy with who you are or trying to better yourself. But I think with the concept of like when you put mental health in front of it, it becomes an excuse for so many things these days. Maybe that's just my perspective, but as someone who has suffered from depression and things like that in the past, I I think when someone's like, "Oh, I say this," but it's like you just, you know, now this is a joke and an over exaggeration when I say this, but it's like, be like, "Oh, you just accidentally ran someone over in your car," and then you try to be like, "Oh, I'm depressed. I just, mental health, type of thing." And I
No, but
just I
the
say,
thing
yeah.
is, I get what you're saying because, like ever since, like, like I started this channel actually, like doing just like trying to be a personal trainer online,
Mhm.
kind of like for free. Just kind of like I feel like there's a lot of skills that I have that I could actually, like share awareness. But then
Mhm.
it becomes something more. And the channel it becomes kind of like mental health awareness as well. And the thing with those things, I just really feel that, when it comes to, because you're also a personal trainer. And I
Yes.
actually like, I've been wanting to get you as a guest because I think, like in our career, we can actually talk about not just being physically fit, which is a lot of people are actually doing, but mostly because, through years of experience, you cannot really be physically fit if you're not mentally fit. And when it comes
Well,
to
yeah.
being mentally fit, if you don't love yourself, but the thing is that word, sometimes it gives me cringes. Like when you say something, like sometimes when I was doing the thumbnail of this live
Mhm.
stream, I was like thinking, what is the other word for love yourself without me being cringy about it because of how the people are using it nowadays. The same thing as mental health. And that's why I've been very, very, like I had this advocacy of just not, like trying to share awareness when it comes to mental health. And the same thing as you, I've been telling this like ever since I had my live stream where I feel like it's really, really so bad for the real people that actually have mental health issues, for these people to use depression as some sort of like, like it's an excuse that you kind of like F up on your life or you
Yeah.
did some mistakes.
Yeah. I think like and that kind of it definitely agitates me in that aspect of where it's like people who genuinely truly suffer from a condition, like as in professionally diagnosed, or you can like just simply see them, like if it's more visual. But people try to put depression on like mental illness as like the same level as like mental retardation, and just, they try to take something super severe and then take something that's so far down the scale on not nearly as bad. Now, I'm not saying you can't have crippling depression. Again, I've been there, you know, but I just think that there's so many subjects like that these days where everyone is taken the bare minimal, not that bad, and like just tried to like falsing. I can't even find words in my own language. Like I guess yeah, I was gonna say I only speak one language and barely speak that, but it's they try to take something and this has been almost like sadly an internet trend along with other bad, not great ideas is they try to like they've slowly over time used like social media and whatnot to dial up the severity of something that's not that bad to the level, at least to make people react emotionally to something that is truly a struggle and terrible and whatever else to deal with if you're someone who genuinely has that versus someone who is, again, this term in itself, clout chase to the point where they it's like they try to capitalize on negative things, but it's so ridiculous now that so much of on the internet has just become what was reality TV, meaning fake but presented as real, that was things like that
Drama,
from
full of
yeah.
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, Dwayne Pearson is saying, fact, I see it. People overuse terms to death with the proper context. And that's the thing with, like, like loving yourself. Like, how do you really love yourself? And the thing with me is like, I feel like, at this point of my life, when you say you love yourself, it means acceptance, accepting who you are, but the thing is, like, when you say something like this is the thing with me, this when you say something, accept yourself, or how about the dark side, because this is who I am, it's over exaggerated. I just really feel like every time, it's not just this, but it's not just this word, but everything that, like people do now seems to be over exaggerated. And we had that term in Tagalog, we call it OA, over exaggerated. Yeah, we call them those people, which is really, really. So when it comes to you, let's talk about you,
Mhm.
like something that you want to share. Like, you can say pass if you don't want to answer
No,
certain questions.
I'm pretty open about most of my situations and life stuff, especially because it's kind of part of my sales pitch. I'm not trying to be, I'm
Yeah.
just being blunt with, but I mean, in early on in the conversation when I was like, I can't be offended. No, like I pretty much, you have to really know me and really know how to strike a nerve is the term I'll say. To really get to me verbally, because I kind of have developed the mentality at this point where unless you're going to punch me in the face, anything you have to say to me, I don't phase me nonetheless. I don't care. You know, it may annoy me, but it's like, I'm like, okay, good for you. But I grew up with all kinds of learning disabilities. I'm surprised I managed to get through school, like, and so was the rest of my family. They're like, "Wow, you made it." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right?" And I also was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome, OCD, and ADHD at like 5 and 6 years old. So I had pretty much all the most horrendous things said to me, said about me, said to me before I was 10 years old, let alone older, to the point where I'm just like, wow, almost can deflect it like bullets at this point, you know? So,
Okay. So we're gonna get through that. But so let's see the live chat. Basically, people thrive in drama. Loving yourself, it's important, but that's something you should do once you at a young age. I believe it should be taught. Why it takes a bad relationship or etc. to love yourself cringe. Yeah, and basically this is the thing. I think it's, like I've been telling this like lately, especially lately when it comes to like, like at a young age. And we actually, one thing that I was like thinking about is I want to explore the word trauma. Because earlier, even the use of word trauma, without actually going through real trauma, but I feel like if we dig deep into the trauma topic, we're gonna get away from the topic of our live stream tonight. But the thing is, when you say love yourself, at some point when you say all these things, you've been, called horrendous stuff, and like that's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people suffer is when you have inferiority complex, and basically a lot of like young children suffer from this at some point. How did you get through with all of those stuff that for you is horrendous? How did you get through it? And like I'm gonna jump into this question. At this point of your life, do you think you love yourself? And explain that
yes.
to us.
I mean, probably more than I had most of my life for the last like 4 or 5, 6 years. Because I was always someone who played the peacekeeper with any feuding family members or friends, all to no avail, because I'd try to be like, "Whoa, calm down, guys," and then nothing changes. Still, things hit the fan, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I getting into fitness. I know a lot of people like laugh when I say this, but I mean it's true. It's like I almost did it by accident.
Oh, for
um,
real.
yeah, it was kind of interesting how it started, because I didn't plan on having anything or doing anything near what I am now or have been. Um, I was on with all the like Tourette's and OCD and all these like neurological and like brain disorders that I unfortunately had, but at the same time also made me a stronger and better person in the long run, I think. I was on all kinds of meds for like all that stuff just to be able to like functionally get through a day of school a lot of times, like anywhere from 2 to 5 types of different types of meds 2 to 3 times a day. Like it was bad. Um, and one of the main things, side effects of all those was weight fluctuation. I was never really big until I was older, but I it was like when I was a kid, I'd go like super thin, medium to like chubby, like all through like elementary school, like primary school type of thing. It was like this back forth, back forth. It didn't really get bad until the conditions worsened in middle school, high school, and that's when I gained a lot of weight because I almost like intentionally self-secluded. Like I wanted to go out and play with other kids. I wanted to go out and do things. I wanted to go to school, but my condition just made me so like I just didn't want to be around anyone, because I was, especially at that point, I was just so like I one thing said to me and I would just have a mental breakdown and walk out of the room, you know. And after putting up with that for a long time, I just kind of was like, "Ah, whatever," and just kind of like I'm going to enjoy as much things as I can and just try to survive. And that mentality was cool, but it's also part of what contributed more to the weight gain, because I went from like an underweight, like 115, 100 and maybe 20-pound 14-year-old to like 170 or 80-pound 15, 16-year-old. Like I went into high school almost 200 pounds at, however tall I was at that point. So that was bad. Like I remember barely being able to survive day one of gym class type of thing going into my first year of high school. Um, but okay, so jump ahead. I'm 22. I had a situation happen, and I decided to stop taking all the meds, and I slowly kind of like leaned off everything for like a month or two, and I just like almost overnight, once I was like 100% off of everything, felt more energized. Like it messed with my energy levels, my weight fluctuation. I dropped probably 40 pounds, and I was in bad shape. I don't think I ever quite broke 250 pounds, but I was close. And I'm not a tall guy, but I'm not a short guy, but it was still bad or the worst I had ever been. And literally between 22 to like the following summer of 23, like in terms of my age at the time, I had probably dropped 45, 50 pounds. Like I went from 240 something pounds to almost 190. I hadn't seen my weight be below 200 pounds.
And that's all because of you trying to not take all of your medication.
Yeah, it was just all these meds that I was taking for conditions that weren't nearly as much of an issue in my day-to-day life or nearly as bad as it was when I was a child or a teenager or whatever. And a lot of it, because a lot of those conditions are stress induced, well, just not being a teenager in middle school or high school made a world of difference.
And
It's
the
not
thing
100% going.
is,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, no. And the thing is, because, like this is really, really kind of like one of the things that I wanted to, because in the Philippines and in Japan, we don't have things like ADHD. And the thing is, like, talking to Americans, like everyone, every boy, if they're not behaving properly in America, they would be, basically be under medication because they're supposed to have ADHD. But the thing is, with us Asians, when you're a kid, especially if you're a boy, you're just naturally energetic, and it goes with what your parents make you eat. And sometimes, and like thinking and observing how American have their lifestyle, I feel like a lot of parents, and I'm not saying this to everyone, so don't exaggerate, because some of you likes to exaggerate, so don't exaggerate. I'm just saying some parents in America, and this is one of my kind of like, like frustrations when it comes to children and parenting. It's like I've seen a lot of people feeding their kids food that they shouldn't consume, like too much
You don't
sugar.
say.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, if you put a boy, any boy that ranges from, like let's say 3 to 10,
Yeah.
they're going to be all over the place. And you
Yeah.
would think they would have ADHD according to American standards, but we Asian, we just think they're kids. That's what they do. So basically we let them play. We let them have their fun in the park. By the time they're tired, they come back home, and then basically they're tired. And I want to read some of the people, and exactly, Icy Fit, tell them. Okay. Rian Screeb, hope you having a good day. Thank you, Dwayne Pearson, for interacting in the live chat. Or the school system diagnoses you with a disability when you don't have one, make you feel less special. I've seen it a million times. And this is the question for you. When you were a kid and you were told that, like you have ADHD, how does your parents kind of like deal with it? Did they let you?
They that was one of the things I would say I was extremely lucky about, was you were asked the other part of your question. This is kind of answering this and that one and this one. You asked about like how did you get through it? How did I? Well, I found that I was really fortunate because um I was surrounded by a lot of really caring and compassionate and, like, good adults in my life. Sorry if my rooster of a dog starts barking. And there he goes again. He
Mhm.
it I had a lot of teachers. My parents were really understanding. They really tried their best and for the most part did a wonderful job. Not always, but what are you gonna do? You gotta work with what you got on the unexpected. Um, but I really had a lot of adults in my life that really helped me out. And because of that, I was really lucky. I know a lot of people that would have been in similar situations that didn't have the teachers that really helped me. They had parents that didn't know how to handle it and or didn't even try to handle it. They just kind of passed it off and oh, it's this and we're going to deal with it this way because that's all I know how to do. I just to this day am really thankful for all the help I did have that I know a lot of people that have things like that, especially when they're younger, that they don't have, and they're not nearly as well off as I would have been. Not that I'm perfect, who is, but I think I'm definitely better off having a lot of compassionate adults in my life as a kid and a teenager that helped me along the way, and that was definitely a big part of it.
So the thing is, when I come up with the kind of like thumbnail of this, I was like
Mhm.
thinking to myself, how can you say to a person when they ask you how to love yourself? Like it's something that I feel like
Go to the
it
gym.
could be
No, I'm just kidding.
taught.
Oh,
Yeah, it could be taught. But at the same time, I feel like it has nothing to do with, like how much you learn of how to's. That's why I kind of like, like play with it in my mind. Like if you say to somebody the step by step of how to love yourself, and this has been all over the internet, you can see them.
yeah.
But at the
Go to the
same
gym,
time,
eat right, and then the rest is up to you. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
yes. But the thing is, that is the how to's. But at the same time, it just really feel like even if you say the how to's, there is something that, like no one can teach you, which is the acceptance.
mhm.
And the thing is, nowadays, I just really, really feel like a lot of people are in denial. And that's why there's
Yeah.
a lot of movement popping up here and there, which for me sometimes doesn't make sense. And compassion is locked in this day and age. But the thing is, I actually like, I want to play devil's advocate with this one. Compassion, I just really feel like compassion is actually more allowed these days. Because sometimes when
Too
you do
much.
something bad, yeah, exactly. That's actually what I feel. There's just too much compassion for everyone. And going back to the mental health topic, or like because everything is mental, if you want to love yourself, you have to be mentally and emotionally fit. And that's why I keep saying that because it's very important. And you can be cringe, it can be cringy from time to time, but it is true. So when you say something like that, the compassion is actually so much that sometimes, like in the Philippines, I'm just going to tell you a story. In the Philippines, when someone is basically become berserk or do something very bad, they would always ask, like, is he or she on drugs? For me, it's like, okay, that's compassion right there because you're not looking in the wrongdoings. You're looking up like, like so
Outside
that means if yeah, so
sources,
that
yeah.
means if she is a, like a drug addict or something, that means oh yeah, that's why she's like that. So sometimes I just really feel like, like compassion is too much and there's a lot of, like self denial when it comes to acceptance. And one of the things that I really feel like is to totally love yourself means to accept yourself. But at the same time, be very, very careful, because when you say accept yourself, it doesn't mean that, like, you have some habits, you have some bad habits. We get it. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that everyone should actually adjust on those bad habits, because that's who you are.
Yeah, I definitely I completely understand like that because I I've seen so much just nonsensical garbage about I just so many stupid subjects at this point with everything, just the internet in general these days. It's they try to take everything and be as nice and kind as you can about it, but it's just like, first off, if it is things you can literally control in your life, I know there's so much more you can't control, but the few things you can, or 99% of the world, is your body weight and how you go about that. You don't Not everyone has to be an athlete, not everyone has to be a bodybuilder level, but you can at least do the bare minimal most of the time, you know? And this, you know, things like and it makes me sad because when you have movements that were like good intentions, but like the saying of like good intentions or the road to hell can be paved with good intentions or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying that backwards or correctly, but it's something along the lines of a good
I've never
idea.
heard
Yeah, it's just the
that.
concept of like someone can take a and they can still lead to bad things. Um Whereas like they're focused on the actual intention versus not thinking about the outcome. But basically what I was getting at with that, like a prime example, and it's something that unfortunately blew up in the US, but that's what we do. We take other ideas from other places and screw it up and then say we made it better. I'm kidding. That's just most of the time. But anyway, and
We know. We know.
they yeah, I know. I'm so used to like people not
No, I get it.
yeah,
No, no.
yeah,
What I
like I'm
mean, we
very
know is
sarcastic. Yeah.
no.
So I
When
oh,
I
sorry.
say we know, because when you're saying something like, I'm just saying it like this. I'm just saying, when we say we know, is because you Americans like to do that, and I was like saying we know,
Yeah, it's more along
American.
the guidelines of like internet, like unwritten internet rules because every TOS on every social media never follows it. It's basically like if you're rich and famous and make that company a lot of money, you could get away with the most horrendous, worst, bad, not good things. But some random nobody like me that's just trying to spread the good word of get your ass to the gym. Uh, you know, it's like they're like, oh, like this this big group of people didn't like what you said. You're disintegrated from existence online. I'm like, yeah, gee, thanks, guys. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's because of more just the habit of like I just have to I over explain as you might already get from me.
No, but the thing is,
But
I
yeah,
understand that, because even like me, I'm not native in English language, but being a live streamer for almost 2 years now, I feel like the most like effort that I've made changing about myself last year is choosing words. And the more I delve with a lot of different culture, and the more and more I understand American culture,
don't
the
understand
more
it.
I
You'll be
feel
better
like,
off.
yeah, the more I feel like sometimes if I didn't get a hold of myself, I get to a point where, like, hold on, did I say that bad? Is that a bad word? Or, like, just earlier when I was doing my reaction video, I said something African American. And the thing is, like, forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm not American, so I'm Asian. So I only hear and, so there's a lot of difference when you say African American between Black American men. So you have to
Yeah,
distinguish to those things. And for
yeah,
me, it's like sometimes, can you just give me a break or something like that? I just
Yeah,
wanted to put this out. I just want to put some message out. And every time you filter everything just for the sake of people that are going to be offended,
yeah,
then
like
it just makes
yeah,
complication when
it
it shouldn't be
waters
there.
down, and it just like when you start getting overly censorship to your own words, it just
Yes.
it gets to the point where it's like you have some big famous painting on the wall, and then you water it down and censor it and whatever to where it's literally just watching a blank sheet of wall of a single color dry on the wall kind of thing. Like, and I've kind of gotten over that where I'm just like, screw you all, I don't care. I'm not saying to you guys, just in general, I'm just like, be offended. I'm at a point where if you don't offend me, I'm offended from that. I'm so sick of everyone being like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I'm like, no, just fucking say it. Like right now, the one thing I am doing right now, I cuss a lot. Like I curse a
Oh, me
lot.
too.
So
But
right
the thing is,
now, yeah,
I know I should break on that because, we're on a public live stream. And,
yeah,
this is a private platform,
yeah.
and that's the thing. Another thing that makes me really, crazy when it comes to internet and this influencer and all of these things that are happening in the world. But we're not talking about that, guys.
Yeah.
But we're going to go to the live chat right now. So Dwayne Pearson says definitely can control weight. I don't know why people accept being overweight, which just what I said, too much compassion. And that's where, fat shaming comes from. It's tacky and disgusting to me. Yes, true. The hypocrisy in America is mind mean blogging. Ayan. And mind blogging. Is it not mind blowing? Is it the same or
Uh,
mind blowing?
and guys, I am not
Probably.
ignoring chat. I am reading it, but I'm like trying to pay attention to like
Yes.
the
You
interview and
stand
everything
on
here.
what you say and say WTF you mean, F the fake shit. Ayan. Guys, there's actually people that I've met on person that actually so backed off from me because when you meet me in person, guys, I cuss a lot, like a lot. For an Asian like me, I cuss a lot. And the thing is, I'm not sorry about it. That's just
And
who
don't
I
don't
am. So I am just 100% true. Why you crying? I see. I love you. Aw, you love me. Why are you crying then? Don't cry. 100% true. Come up here if you want. Talk with us. I'm okay with that. It's nothing wrong. Yes, and that's the thing, you know when it comes to, like, for example, this, like, let's talk about this because I want to talk about it because this is part of our job, right? Loving yourself, first of all. When you're fat, when you're not thinking about your health, that automatically means you don't love yourself. And I would assume a lot of you people would disagree with me because that's not. And that's the thing. Is like logically explaining. If you love yourself, you don't want to die pretty early. I
no.
think that's pretty much because you love life. You want to be alive for a long time because you love life, which translates to me loving yourself. And when you love yourself, and this is the thing, that's why I don't talk about religion and politics, because it sometimes it feels like when you're trying to explain something, then it goes to kind of like the culture itself, you know? Like, I don't know in America, but sometimes in the Philippines, it's like, like when you talk about religion and politics and all of that, it's so hard to kind of have a discussion about this fat shaming and being fat and all of that because they're gonna kind of like twist the words
Oh, that
for
that
their
yeah, definitely.
purpose.
Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. We're sorry. We're
No, it's
But,
okay.
yeah, I that was one thing I kind of trailed off in, sorry, but I was gonna mention that, like, the concept of, like, the fat acceptance thing was something that started in, like, the mid 2010s that I as far as can recall, like, like, 2015, 2016, somewhere in there, and it started with something that was called that was originally, I guess, the body positivity movement, and
Oh.
it was something that has just mutated into this just monster of something that is just so I'll use a made up term from a funny show I liked, but just so asinine that just like you're just like, what what happened? Because if you look into the history of that, that was something that was meant for severely burned victims to that in terms of like the kind of burns that no amount of like surgery or skin grafts is going to be able to do anything for to just see themselves rather as they were or as it's supposed to be, accept themselves as they are for something they can no longer change, unfortunately. Or accident victims, or that's like what it was for people that had literal unintentional physical trauma from an accident, burns, things like that. And then a bunch of fat, I'm going to be blunt here, a bunch of fat third wave feminists hijacked and were like, I get to be lazy. And then that's pretty much what it was.
I like that. But let's see. So, I don't know in America, but in the Philippines, I see. Why are you neglecting Japan? I'm not neglecting Japan. Thank you, Dwayne Pearson, for that. But what do you mean I'm neglecting? Like, what are we talking about here, Ayan? And around 2015, that's when it got bad. What do you
True
mean,
that.
Ayan? But the thing is, this is, like the body positivity is like we all actually kind of like, and, like different cultures, different country has problems when it comes to like
I don't mean to
body
interrupt. Sorry, but
positivity.
can I step away for like, can you just give me like 3 minutes so I can go feed my
Okay,
dog and let him
go.
outside? I'll be
Yes,
right
yes,
back.
yes, yes, yes. Go, 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 go ahead. Yeah. So guys, when it comes to like, when it comes to like body positivity, like I really feel so conflicted. Let's just say that. Conflicted. Because when it comes to people, I always had this view about life and about people that every feelings are valid because that's your emotions, that's your feelings. But when it comes to this, that what we're talking about, the fat shaming and being fat and all of that, as a personal trainer, the word fat is not fat shaming. It's just how you explain the person who are obese. Am I correct? Am I wrong? So the thing is, it's like I do understand a lot of, people out there that is okay to being like that. I get it. That's your life. I don't really care really of what your choices in life is. But what I'm saying, and as a personal trainer, as a human being, it's just not good for you, you know? And if you truly love yourself, that's the first thing you should do is take care of your body. Not just your body, but your mind, your emotions, stuff that are going to make you better in life. You know, I see this is your second guest that came in with a bald head. Does that mean something? What that means? I don't know what that means. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Why do you have to always see these little things that I don't see 100% true, huh? Concisely and well put. Ah, that's good, Felipe G, if you're liking the conversation. Nah, I agree, icy feet. Which one do you agree with? I don't know. I don't know what that means. But, and that's another thing. Like in the Philippines, like God bless the souls of my fellow Filipinos. Okay, I'm going to talk about Philippines, America, and Japan. Three countries that I kind of like know of. Okay. So that you don't complain about it 100% true. Deal? You're too demanding. Okay. I see it keep being real. I see you as family from what's the thing? I don't mind people being overweight. It's been told I have to like it and find it attractive that annoys. Exactly, Felipe G. The thing is, like for me personally, I don't really care about your choices or what choices you want to take in your life because I always tell this to people. At the end of the day, that's your life. You know, you can choose whatever path you want. You can love the way you want to love yourself and so on and so on. But I do have a problem when you complain and you're not doing anything about it. Because let's just face it, majority of people who complains are the exact people that supposedly find themselves or loving themselves, but then you still see them complaining. And that's why they're loud. So for me, I see if you were my girl, I'd want you around me all the time. Do Filipinos have a personality like yours? Ooh, I wonder. I do wonder about that 100% true. Because, like, growing up, and as I've told you guys, like, I grew up, like, most of my childhood is in the Philippines. That's where I studied, But at the same time, growing up, I always been told that I'm Japanese. Like my character is too Japanese and blah 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 blah. So I don't know. You have to ask admin 100% if I have Filipino. But I do have Filipino beliefs. I do have Filipino like culture in me, and I just feel that's why I love learning culture and understanding and comprehending culture, because I feel like the moment I opened my mind, my open myself, that sounds perfect, like open myself to the world, around me, different culture, different perspective. That's how I found myself. That's how I accepted myself of who I am. And when it comes to culture, not everything you would love about your own culture. And for me, if something is not going to make me better, I'm not going to do it. I don't care if it's a culture thing or not, but if it's not going to be for me or for the betterment of who I am, then I kind of like go away from that kind of tradition. If a person is fat and want to stay that way, it's their life. Exactly. But at the same time, the thing is, don't complain about it. If that's the life you want, if that's whatever, you know, you wanted, then don't complain about it. That's all I'm asking. Is that really hard? Most Filipinas do. Most don't. And there's a lot of good Filipinas, but a bad batch, but rarely. Filipinas are just sexy. Dwayne Pearson, you don't say, Ayan. And of course, please let us welcome back our guest, Servo Survivor.
Okay, sorry about that.
So
Okay.
100% true. I don't know if, but I believe you actually see 100% true because sometimes it's always kind of like coming up here. But if you want 100% true, I know last Thursday you want to come up. This is the time you can come up and just chat with us as well in here. I've seen admin couple of times on stream. She bubbly and shy on camera. So far, Filipinos are winning in my book. Ooh, I'm gonna see a Filipino wife for you 100%. And do you think that there's a coincidence that Filipino women are trending right now on the internet? Can you answer that question for me? Do you think that there's a coincidence that Filipino women are trending right now on the internet?
Uh, I mean, wasn't really
That's
even
what I
looking. I mean,
did.
sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
um,
'Cause the thing is this, like the same thing as trending, right? This is how I think of, like how internet and how your life is molding you, right? When
mhm.
it comes to YouTube, there's algorithm, right? You watch something and then it would recommend you to watch the
Yeah,
same things.
yeah,
So you're going to be stuck in that bubble, right? So when it comes to loving yourself, do you feel that, like, because a lot of people that having a hard time loving themselves are people who have actually come from, like bad background, like
yeah.
family issues,
I know
trauma.
many of them. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the thing for me. Do you feel like when it comes to loving yourself, these people that suffers from real depression and real struggles, do you think one part of knowing to love yourself is actually being surrounded with people that aren't the same people that is in their background? Meaning, I'm going to rephrase this question because I feel like it's too much. When it comes to people that are struggling, they become toxic, right? And they're so addicted to the toxicity, as I could say. Meaning they cannot get out of the comfort zone because that's all they know. Do you
Again,
think that
yeah,
it's
sorry. Go
part
ahead.
of the society, the government, or people that actually like us, like strangers, to actually kind of like reach out to those people?
I I think it's one of those things that it's multiple layers and it's all of those and more. I'm not saying your problems are all, you know, all external, like it's not you, man, it's me, it's not me, man, it's everything. It's the system, not quite like that. Um, I think it's more like I guess it's hard to say because I think it's a lot of those things combined. I think it's poor policy making, or again, like the kind of like good intentions poorly executed on the kind of like government part of it. Because you make a system that's meant to help people, but then you get a lot of people that abuse it, but then you make it super hard to obtain any sort of like assistance or help to the people that legitimately need it. And then the people that bend the, kind of like abuse the system don't rarely get as much attention as the ones who actually need it, meaning like they make it super hard to obtain that for like someone who legitimately is trying and needs it. But then someone who kinda, like, almost, like, schemed and scammed their way into getting it and doesn't actually need it and is just kinda doing it for financial, personal gain, like, just, illegitimate intentions. Um, and then the other side of it, or the other big part of it, like, where it's hard when you come from a bad upbringing or have a rough background, um, to really get out of that mentality. But I think what it comes down to is it really depends on the person, like, on an individual level. Like, people, I'm not trying to be, I'm not saying that you can't overcome this or like it's everyone, but some people just are mentally weak, and as much as they try, as much as you want them to not be, or they have potential, it's just they don't have enough, like, kind of like tough skin, I guess I'd say, type of thing built up. Even though you think they would, it's like it affects them in a different way, I guess, because it just a exaggerated example is you have two individuals that just came from a straight ghetto shithole background. That's what that's what I'm going to say. Just a real rough, like, literal physical survival was like all they knew. You have one that they, let's just say these two individuals have similar situations. Their parental situation is crap. Their upbringing is not good, their schooling is not good, but you have one that is just, I gotta get out of this, I gotta do whatever I can, but goes about it in a more positive way, does after school activities, tries to just, like, on the kind of more positive or legal side of things, just tries to do whatever they can, putting in the grunt work to get out of there, you know what I mean? Goes for scholarships, tries to get whatever assistance they can, that they need, but they're really just trying to focus on getting out of there. Then you have the other one who just goes about it in the complete wrong way. They're just like, I got to survive. This is life. End of story. They do drugs, they sell drugs, they get into rough patches, like things like prostitution, or things just like, they go the opposite direction. But it's because they don't mentally try to look at it, or don't try to go in the direction that would be a more positive route, even though it would be more difficult. They go in the route they kind of always knew. That's, I guess, not really the easier route, but it's easier in terms of, like, it's just like, what's quicker to make, a quick buck fast versus like hard work and starting from the bottom up type of thing, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And to answer that, and to answer 100% true, I see. Why do you think that it's your responsibility to reach out to people who are suffering? Why not allow them to overcome their own struggles? With that said, I think it's appropriate for me to say I don't think it's my responsibility, but at the same time, I just feel like we have YouTube as a platform. It's
Appreciate
not
that,
my
Dwayne. Sorry.
responsibility to do that. But knowing that there are people out there, and I've said this, and some people, and even me saying this right now, what I'm about to say, I feel cringy to myself because I don't talk like this, kind of like, because I feel like it's so corny, but it is the truth. Sometimes truth can be corny and cringy. But when I started live streaming, I hear people saying stuff like, like that story of that person, I related on that. And I kind of see a different perspective of how I'm going to approach my life right now. And they're going to do the little steps. So to answer your question 100% true, I don't think it's my responsibility. I just feel like I have this platform, which is not, I'm not big. I'm not saying that I can influence you, but I just really feel like if we can have a conversation, if we can have open conversation and talk things through that we couldn't talk in our circles, people could actually, maybe then you can reach out to these people that would be relatable to the people that is in your channel or in the live stream, because that's how it is. That's why reality TV, drama, and all of that, people are watching it because it's relatable to an extent, and it becomes, like something like that. Miss D Diaries, good morning, all the way from Canada. Thank you for coming by, Miss D. So, that is to answer your question. But the thing is, when it comes to like when you're saying weak mentality, that's where I feel really, really strong when it comes to mentally or mental fitness, you know? Because for one, when you're trying to kind of like get to a point where you want to change your body outlook, because let's just face it, when you talk about loving yourself, usually first it's more on the physical side,
Mhm.
like looking in the mirror, trying to love yourself. And most of the time, this is where inferiority complex comes from as a child, being laughed at, and when it comes to being fat, I remember back in the day when you're fat, you're being kind of like bullied, right? Because
Mhm.
you're fat and all of that. But at the same time, that's what makes the person choose which one are they going to take. Are they going to take it as a motivation to not be fat, or to take the motivation of just kind of like sulking and like, pity yourself and you're not going to change anything in your life? And I
Yeah.
just really feel like, if there's a person that these people can look up to, because nowadays everywhere is, like you look into your blogs and you look into people, you listen to people opinions. That's why we have reaction videos.
Mhm.
You get this information. So I just feel like if these people cannot love themselves and you know how to love yourself, is it kind of like, how are we going to approach this, or how are you going to teach this kind of like qualities to a person that is kind of weak? Have
Well,
you ever ponder on
I've
that thought?
actually had a lot of sorry, were you finished? Yeah. I actually have had that's almost like my core clientele base for not 100%, but pretty close of like most of actually what I look for because my kind of niche is, in terms of like clients that I look for or what they're looking for is people that were pretty much how my prior self was. Basically chubby to be blunt, fat geeks and nerds that wanted to still enjoy video games, but just do it a little less and, eat fruits, vegetables, and meats rather than Doritos and Mountain Dew for 8 hours a day, you know. Um that's why I think I have a one up in kind of this job market is I really try to level with people that I find that I'm working with that are really truly struggling mentally. I try to tell them it was like I've been there many times in more ways. Sorry about my dog. Than I can possibly get into in a few minutes. I like the whole thing about like being mentally weak and whatever and like kind of pitying yourself versus like a motivator. I did pity myself. I was that person for 10, 15 years. Like when I got way out of shape or even as a little kid, when I was just chubby, like so I was that person for like a long time, 10 or more years. It took me until I was in my early 20s and I'm in my early 30s now to develop that, and then I just got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not even an older adult or I'm not even an older teenager, I'm not even like 18, 19. It's like I'm 22, 23 and I've had enough of this. And then everything else like once it the thing is getting I know this is like again how cringe factor levels, but getting started is truly the hardest part. like hands down. Like the journey is a struggle in the beginning, but after you find your ground, and you get going, once you know what to do, and once you know how to, once especially once you achieve it, it's easy to maintain it. Now people can disagree with me on that or whatever, but it's like once you figure out how to do something, I mean, you just keep doing that or improve it. And that's all of what I've done. I mean, if I look at how I started doing this, I was beside myself when I bench pressed 100 pounds, when I weighed like 150 pounds. You know, now I can do like 10, 15 pounds more than my body weight. I'm not really like a big, like, oh my God, my numbers are so impressive. I'm still a scrawny dude, compared to some others, but I appreciate and am totally, not to toot my own horn, but yes, at the same time, but proud of everything I've done because most of it I've pretty much done on my own in terms of I had no inspirational friend. All my family are a bunch of hypocrites. You know, everyone was, you're too fat, and then it was you're too skinny, and then it's you're doing too much at the gym, like you're going too hard. I'm
Oh,
like,
and
guys,
that's the thing. And that's the thing that I've always said because I have like three factors that I always say. Is like one is like nutrition, right?
oh, that's number
Eat
one always.
properly. Yes, eat properly. You're good. If you're so lazy to work out, eat properly. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Second, be real with yourself. Like, be really real with yourself, flaws and all of that. And third is like basically, like proper form. Those are the three things that I want you to understand when it comes to fitness, starting your fitness journey, starting to love yourself. Because this is the thing that a lot of people always frowned upon as personal trainers is when we talk about, like once you get into fitness, once you get the hook of it, fitness is actually very, very important. And I've always tell this to a lot of parents that, like I have clientele that are parents. I would ask them if they have kids. And the thing is, in Japan, kids here in Japan are very, very sports minded. Like very, very early age, they're allowed to play. They are allowed to do a lot of things that a lot of people outside of Japan cannot do. And that's a very important, but at the same time when you look in the outside of Japan, a lot of kids are basically not, like not being outside, not doing physical things and physical work and stuff like that. So 100% true has a question. What if people love themselves according to their own beliefs? For instance, strippers who love themselves. You may not agree with it on a moral standpoint, but they're fulfilled. But this is a different subject, though. What we're talking about here is loving yourself, but not being in denial. Because, like for me, the most awesome person that I've met in my life are the people that are loud, the people who doesn't give a shit. you know for some people they'll be called like no morals, like me. Like some people would think I'm not feminine because I love arguing with topics. I love
Who think that? No,
disagreeing with, like disagreeing with guys most of the time. I like, like those little things, like, but at the same time it's like the most awesome people that I've met are those people that actually really accept themselves. And for me, once you accept who you are, that is the time you can actually love yourself. But at the same time, when it comes to like different instances and different situations, I get that there are weak people, and Felipe G was saying like real depression is very hard to fight on your own. No amount of talk will help. It's not a matter of being weak. So it's like, when you talk about being weak, it's almost like, like because there are different kinds of weaknesses. There are physical weakness and there's like mental weakness, and I do understand that. But I feel like when it comes to mental fitness, when it comes to mentally being strong, you can learn it. Like, not everyone is mentally strong. But if you really want to reach something, you really want to get better for real, is like for just like for the sake of talking about depression, there's this kind of like, because like, thank God, I don't feel like, I feel like I am mentally strong when it comes to things like this. But at the same time, I just really feel like if you learn, if you try to open your heart, you open your mind to different outlets that would actually want to help you. And I've talked to a lot of people who are actually, like suffering depression. They always said that it's always their decision. No amount of people that would love to support you, no amount that help, but at the same time, it's up to them if they actually want to change or not. So, what I'm saying is, if they have information of things that they can do to better themselves, I feel it's just going to be more easier for a lot of people to actually accept the reality where they are from, and then they can actually accept themselves and learn how to love themselves accordingly. So 100% says, I see some strippers have built their children homes and brought real estate. Some even took themselves to college. So, what do you mean in denial? Isn't it working for them? In denial means like this. I'm going to simplify it for you 100% true, okay? Because you're trolling me right now. But I'm going to take that. So, for people who couldn't understand the word in denial means like this: you're fat. For example, since we're talking about being fat, and if you feel like I'm shaming you, that's your problem because I'm not. So when you say fat, you are fat. And the fat person says, I love myself. But then complain about a lot of things that are happening to her life that is not good, you know,
I know
crying
many of people
themselves
like that.
alone. Yeah, crying themselves alone because no one will like them. Do you really love yourself, or you're pretending to love yourself because you don't want to change anything? That's what I'm saying when I said in denial. What you're saying of the situation of a stripper is not a denial. If anyone can choose anything, anyone can choose anything. I'm just saying, just be real to yourself. You don't have to tell me you're being real. You don't have to proclaim to the world that this is what you feel. It's up to yourself. You're the only one person who knows what are you feeling. That in denial. I am. So, but the thing is, like strippers, I don't have problems with them. Like I actually envy strippers that are actually very, very like, they love how they look, they love what they're doing and stuff like that. Because without strippers, a lot of lonely men out there wouldn't have fun. So that's how I think about it, guys.
I just
Go
kind of leave
on.
it at, we can all you can all make your own bad decisions. That's on you. Hey, I mean, as long as it don't interfere with things that I'm doing, or at least important things, but one thing I would mention on that is some people legitimately don't have a choice in terms of like kind of going back to
Yes.
what I mentioned about, if you really truly are brought up from a just like a just rough area, like, whether it's in your own country or in another, whatever. I truly think that things like, like I get it, like if you literally have no legitimate legal direction to turn, uh, like you got to do what you got to do, but don't let things like prostitution, drug selling, drug sales, like don't let negative, illegitimate things stay that way. Like if that is literally what you got to do to survive, okay, do what you got to do, but I'm not condoning any of that behavior. I'm just saying, but it's just I did that again, didn't I? But, but it's just don't let it be the entire path to the end of your life type of thing. You know, do it if you have to in the early stages of life if it's that bad to survive, but do your utmost best to your abilities to get away from that to something that is not as negative an impact, whether it's on you or people you care about or whatever.
No, and that's the thing that I'm talking about earlier, just to kind of like inter or like kind of like connect it with the question earlier, where do you think, we should approach these people? Because the thing is, I do get that as well. And I've always like, have this debate or discussion with a lot of people that sometimes they would tell me, you're saying these things because you're privileged. You're not like us where we don't have any like choices. But in my head, like if I, for just example, for example, if I am not Japanese and for some weird reason I'm in the Philippines and I'm not rich, at that point, you're poor. If you really want to achieve something, and this is the point where I'm getting at, is that people need someone. So if you are someone who you feel like you don't have any choice, stuff like that, try to think out of the box. Because there's a lot of organizations that would actually wanted to help you. You just have to open yourselves up to the proper people, the proper authorities and stuff like that. I don't know how it is in America, but like in Japan, if you are in this type of way, but the thing is like our culture is kind of like contradicting to this type of stuff that are happening in our society about like people that are committing the things. It's very very big in Japan, but I think it's more of the nurturing problem rather than being weak, and it's a culture problem. But at the same time, if you kind of like open up with someone that you're suffering from this, and that's why a lot of people are always telling, if you have to like reach out. And I think for us outsiders that don't feel depression, don't feel these type of things, I just really feel that if we have friends or family that you think they don't like themselves or they don't love themselves, I think just being a human being, you have to reach out to those people just to let them know that you're there, just in case. That's just what I'm thinking. Just being a good person, I guess. So, I'm talking about clinical depression where antidepressants really are the only answer, not the, oh, boohoo, I'm sad and so I'm suffering from depression type. Yes. And that's what I'm always telling in my channel. I really feel sorry for people that are actually clinically diagnosed depression. Those are the people who are actually, the brain waves and the hormones are really not just normal. So those are the things. And 100% true says here, what if you're using the obesity epidemic as a trampling block? And you can actually pitch in this one because we're both fitness trainers. Based on the fact that you're a fitness instructor, what if professor or PhD trashed you based on your intellect? You're a real time troller, 100%.
Oh,
I don't know what. Let me rephrase the question. Is he saying that, like being fat is being trashed? I don't understand.
I
Go ahead, Servo.
I think what 100% is trying to say is like if some like all these like degrees and everything type of like individual that's real high ranking in some medical field related to this, some doctor, university professor, real like high end academically tries to say something like this, uh, or like downplay a personal trainer type of thing, or like kind of talk smack to him. I think, uh, to me, I would kind of look at it. Well, what do they look like? Because if they're not that old, like they're in their 30s or whatever, and they're way out of shape, complain daily about their knees hurting, their ankles hurting, can barely move around without a bunch of outside help, you know, then I'd be like, did you steal that degree or get it off of a cereal box? Because
Ba-
I just,
Basically, there's a term that Conor McGregor I really like when he says this. Like, how do you say it? Talk, walk the talk, or
oh,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So, if any
Yeah,
one of you are fans of MMA, yeah, we're
yeah,
friends now.
yeah,
But yeah, walk the talk or talk the walk. I
yeah.
don't know.
Just,
Maybe I
talk the talk and walk the walk or something.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You have to be self aware. Self awareness, acceptance, those are the things that I'm trying to achieve because I know if I achieve them at some point, I know I'll be a better person. I'll be more like you, I'll know more about myself more than ever because I am self aware. And not a lot of people are being self aware. And that's why we have entitlement issues, different types of issues that branches all over. That's why, if we talk about this, we'll probably run out of time because this branches all along. It's like this one as well.
My
It's like, let's.
ADHD is wearing off on you. Anyway,
But yes, but 100% true. I think, like I couldn't really understand the question, but if I how can a delusion person build self not, not be delusion 100% true. You're such a troll. Anyways, but the thing is, like when it comes to like how about this, Servo? Because we're both in the same career. How are you going to tell to a person that are not believing that being fat is loving yourself? Being
I
fat is loving yourself. How are you going to explain that to a more kind of like, let's say, not open minded person, but at the same time, with a lot of, especially in America, there's a high
oh
rate
yeah,
of kids
yeah.
that are obese. To all of these children that I feel like these are the real victims, the children,
Oh,
because they're
true.
kids.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
how are you going to tell the kids that loving themselves is basically, to be blunt, not trying to be fat?
well, because I have the mentality of a child, I'm just kidding, but I act like a child, I'd say more probably often than I should, but whatever. But I'm really good at like giving explanations in deep detail and then also being able to help, especially because I don't have any kids of my own yet, but I do have several younger relatives that I had a lot of input helping raise for a lot of situations. So I'm real good at explaining rather more complex things to them, I'd say, or at least I like to think I am. But um, I just kind of put it like, you know, try to relate to them. And then you're like, well, what if my kid's like 10 or something, like, like they're not even a teenager yet, so they don't really, or, whatever. It's like, especially if you have a personal experience yourself, like you see that somehow, regardless of your efforts, your child or some child that's important in your life, um, is struggling with weight at a super young age. At least, if especially if you went through it yourself, like I have, try to level with them on, especially if they have people telling them that it's okay, God forbid it's healthy. Um, that there's a lot of people that try to project uh illegitimately or with ill intent, or like they try to project things that are not good onto others. And I think and just try to like explain to them that it's like, again, I'm saying if you have the kind of like situation where you had a issue with it yourself, like I have, try to explain to them in the way that you know the pain, both physically and emotionally and mentally, that they've gone through or are going through. You know, it hurts to just get up in the morning. You're tired all the time. Wouldn't it be feel so much better to not feel like that all the time? And let them know that the few things in the world that you can have control of, this is one of them most of the time. And try to tell them it's like, everything is hard at first, but without struggle, without some sort of restriction, I don't think someone can really progress, especially mentally and emotionally in their in life. Like, I'm not, obviously, like, trauma sucks, bad situations that you grew up with are not good, but at the same time, I think some level of it is required, like, you struggle makes someone stronger if they handle it in the best way they can. And it, you know, like I mentioned early on, I had a lot of not great things said to me and said towards me. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Um, I'm trying to like not ignore anyone or anything here, but at the same time,
No, you can
um,
just talk, yes.
but yeah, sorry if I'm having some sort of malfunction. I've never
No,
used
it's fine, it's
StreamYards,
fine.
so um, but I just I don't know. I'd say I'm pretty good at explaining um things to people that are adults and can comprehend everything I'm saying, but also at the same time, just because of, again, I mean, I have very many childish tendencies. I don't know why, I can't help it. Whatever. I'm a geek and a nerd, but I think just try to level with them on a like a way you feel. And I always think it's easier to try to help people with things like this when you've gone through it. That's not always the
Yes.
case, but because I have done all that or a lot of it, it is a little easier on my part. If that,
Yeah,
you know.
that's it. Yeah. So right now we have one that's going to be in the panel right now. And of course, before that, before I introduce you to another panel that we're gonna have for before we end the stream. Thank you for holiday trip. Aya, welcome. Welcome, welcome to ICEE Fit family. And because of that, this is for you holiday trip. Thank you so much for being a member of ICEE Fit. And please welcome. Are you ready? Can we see you first? Are you decent? 100%. Please welcome our South African man. 100% true. Show us your camera. Off camera is not allowed. There you go. Are we
Hi
gonna do
everyone.
this?
Hello.
Okay.
I'm sorry about my fan camera. There's something wrong. I don't know what the issue
No, it's
is.
fine. It's fine. Well, as long as we can see you. And Brett Glasso, thank you, Ayan. And thank you, Holiday Trip. So the thing is, so your question, why are you trolling us, Ready?
But I see the questions that I'm asking are really legitimate. I'm really not trying to troll.
No,
I
no,
guess
it's
it's the way
okay.
that I'm, yeah, I guess it's the way that I'm coming across. Maybe I like a bit of self-awareness in that regard, but I'm really asking you questions that you know that I'm really interested in knowing.
I know. That's why I let you come up here because you talk better than when you type. So, what's your question?
Yeah, so it's about you know telling people that they're fat. Um, my question is that why do you think that it's your place to to say that to say that to them? Because people often get defensive, and some people are so in denial that they believe the bed that they've made up for themselves. And if you tell them outright that they're fat or that they're overweight, they may see you as someone who's trying to, uh, you know, as someone who's projecting their super, projecting their superiority. I'm not sure if that's the right word
Oh, okay.
over
Now
them.
I get your
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. So how do you navigate that? How do you help someone without really offending? How do you get the message across without without throwing stones at them? How would you do that?
So, yeah. So first of all, let me clarify this, guys. Okay. Let me clarify this. I don't run around and tell everyone people that they're fat when they're fat. I don't do that. I mind my own business, people. Okay. I don't do
Yeah,
that. Let's just be clear on that.
How
Okay.
dare you?
I'm not. But the thing is, like with our job, with our job, part of our job is basically making our clients trust us, because they're trusting us with their body, you know, with their
yeah,
money and with their body, the investment of time. And for me, like if a person if a person asks me if they're fat, then I'll say it because you ask me. But I'm not going around, people and places and call them fat. I don't. Even the girl that I probably would not like because they flaunt their body and their bellies out there and it's all fat, I don't tell them. It's not because it's none of my business. My business is when it comes to my client, and to
Exactly. That's
people
how
that
I
are
feel.
actually wanting me to help them. But for people who are in denial, as we say it, no, it's their life. But what I'm saying is, I'm just telling them that if they do this, and I'm not going to get tired of saying that when you're fat, I don't think you love yourself. Because, like logically speaking, being fat means you're going to die young. And we're not talking about just the fat, baby fats here and there. I do have baby fats, I'm not the super fit, ripped, woman, even if I'm a personal trainer, you know. But at the same time, I'm just saying that, you know,
yeah,
being fat, being obese, not taking care of your health is, for me as a personal trainer, for me, is not loving yourself, because loving yourself means loving life. You want to be alive. You
yeah,
want to enjoy stuff. And if you're fat and your knees, as well as Servo is saying, your knees are aching, you can't sleep because you're too fat, you cannot breathe properly, that's not enjoying life and that's not loving yourself because you don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's what. Okay, let's just
So
clarify that. I don't go around telling people they're fat. It's not my business. Okay, if you truly love yourself being fat, good for you. But don't influence others just because you say so. Tell the
yeah.
truth. That's what I'm saying. How about you, Servo?
So
Anything to add
oh,
up?
okay.
Oh, I was just gonna kind of put my perspective on a couple of things you'd said. Like my main focus, like what you mentioned, is my clients. So the main focus being them. Usually, I'd say literally, unless someone was like told by their doctor that they're going to die, and then they recruited me to be the one to help that person. But for the most part, I'd say most people that, I mean, usually someone seeks out a personal trainer. It's usually not the other way around. Now, obviously, like, you're advertising, you're kind of, making yourself known to get, your, stuff.
Brand.
But it's just for the most part, they're usually seeking you out, meaning more than not, they want to be there, if that makes sense.
Oh,
I mean, does it,
so do you think that yeah. So do you think that they've already come to terms with the fact that they are fat and they need someone to help them lose that fat? Do you think that they've already internally processed that?
most of the time, like I said, with my clientele base, I'd say that's at least 90% of the time, maybe more. Uh, so that alone, to me, I think is already a huge achievement on their part if they weren't acknowledging that prior to that. The other side of it, like what you were saying, and I'm going to put it because it is a bad decision, it's just everyone's free to make their own terrible decisions if they want. you know,
Yeah,
everyone can
it's
do,
your life.
yeah, can do whatever they want. And like you mentioned, I don't just walk into a McDonald's and be like, "You're all fat, go to the gym." You know what I mean? I'm not, I'm not like the
Yeah, we're
only
not like that. We're
yeah,
not like
yeah,
that already.
I, yeah.
Let's just make
I
that
just
clear.
I just kind of leave it at like my focus is my clients and them wanting to be there and working with them. But when it's kind of a different scenario where it's someone you care about, a
Yeah.
family member, a friend type of thing, that's where I think it becomes a struggle, a challenge, and can get really rough. Uh, Again, I speak from a lot of experience because I have a lot of family members, older family members, and a
Me too. Me
good
too.
yeah,
Me too.
and a good amount of friends that are in bad shape and have been in bad shape for the majority of their life. And what aggravates me more even than when they're like, I don't care. I'd rather them acknowledge it and be like, I don't care, rather than tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I've literally done it myself. But yet to them, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think when it comes down to it, at least in situations like that, some people just need a hard dose of reality. And if they ignore that, but they know that, that's on them. It's rough, it's mean, but some people just need a dose of reality. And if they still choose to go about how they are that are taking them down a negative path, that's on them, you know?
Yeah, and to add on that, it's like, this has always been kind of like my code when it comes to like talking to people, whether it's a family member, just people in general around me. It's like what I say is just what I say. It doesn't matter if you follow it or not. I don't care. I don't really care. Because for me, it's not that I don't care because I don't love you or like I don't want you to be happy or be good. It's just I don't care in a way that you're gonna still choose at the end of the day, you're still gonna choose what you think is best for you, you know? But at the same time, it's like I've said my piece. if you're gonna do it, and if you don't, and if you had a mistake, if you're a friend of mine, or if you're a family member, I'll still pick you up. That's just what I mean. And when it comes to, like, when it comes to saying things to your family member where it becomes messy, for me, my point of view in that is like, like, I have family member that I still up to this
I don't mean to
day.
interrupt. I will be right back. Sorry. I
Yes.
got
No, it's
dog
okay. It's
responsibilities.
okay.
Be right back.
Your kid. Your kid.
Exactly.
So basically, like, for me, when it comes to, like, family members, the hard part is because some of them, because of, like, when we talk about trying to change their lives, it doesn't really matter for me whether they accept themselves, or whether they, like, they do these things that I feel like you need to do for yourself to be better. But at the same time, if they don't do it, at the end of the day, it's like, it's their life. As long as they're not, in a way, like, the body positivity, right? It's almost like you're doing this because of yourself. Okay, let's just say if it's the real truth, whoever did this, the first person who ever did this, think that being fat is loving yourself, accepting yourself, good for you. But the thing is, science says it's not. And all of the evidence is, like, being fat is not good, you know? But if that's your choice, good for you. But don't influence other people on your information that you think is for you. So that's my problem.
Yeah,
And at the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time, if when you say something like casting stones, you know, when it comes to friends and family, if you say something bad that they feel offended by, if they don't understand that it comes from a good intention, then for me, why are we friends for? Why are you thinking of me as I'm saying this because of motives, bad motives? Because most of my friends, if they criticize me, that means I think they love me, because I couldn't see it, so they're telling me something is wrong. I'm not going to jump into conclusion that they're saying this because of the bad intentions. So there's a lot of factors on that question that I feel like there's a bunch more conversations to have.
But I see. I hear what you say, but and you don't like the commercialization of fact. Just how it's being branded as something good. You don't like that because you're a personal trainer and you also know the science behind it, that it's not true. But with regards to family members and just how intimate we are to them, have you ever been in a space where you have a relationship with someone, be it family member or be it with a friend, and the relationship is kind of rocky, and here's this person tooting their horn about them being proud of themselves because they're fat, and you said that that irritates you. So because it irritates you, and because you and this person also already have a rocky relationship, have you ever been in that space where it's like, if I confront this person, um, our relationship may be over, or this person and I are already fighting, and now if I bring this up, it's going to make matters worse. Have you ever been in that situation?
Of course. But, like, as time passes by, as life experiences, and, like, me trying to be in a positive, outlook of life, when I'm into a friendship like that, and it's already rocky, as you said, you know, I think there's a real issues. So For me, if I say something and it's already rocky, and if I say something and it goes, like basically our relationship will be over, then it's over. Because back in the day, I'll probably still adjust to friends. I'll try to like not talk the way I feel, not be rude. I'll try to filter a lot of words, even though I don't mean it. I would say it, or just kind of like, yeah, 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 like that, just to kind of like don't piss them off. But at the same time, I'm done with that. I don't need that kind of friendship. I don't need that kind of
Why?
people.
Why did you change? What made you change? What made you
What
stop
made me
holding things
change
in?
is because, like this is how I view life. And, like you can always disagree with this because we have different values. We probably have different beliefs and whatever. But with my life, I just feel like, for example, in a friend relationship, and with all the like, for example, in your life there's like three things that are kind of like important, right? Family,
Oh,
love life, friendship. But we're going to talk about friendship.
oh,
Of all these
oh, yeah,
things, of
yeah.
all surrounded with me, I'm pretty lucky with all of that, except for one thing. I'm really, really had a bad luck when it comes to friendship. And for the time being, I've always asked myself, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me that is a bad person. That's why I couldn't have friends, you know?
Mm,
Maybe I'm a bad person. Maybe that's why nobody want to be friends with me. So I changed. Rather than being stuck in what I've always know what to do, I tried to kind of like, why do I hide my feelings for a friend? If she or
mm,
he is really a friend, just like me, when I treat someone a friend, you might be the, like for you, for example, when you're on the live chat, I always tell you, you're trolling me. I don't like these questions. I'll probably judge you. I judged you the first time like that, right? But But, for that time being, I became kind of like, well, let's see what does, like, and then I know the kind of real you as supposed, like, I don't know, but just kind of like how I feel that you real you. So by that time, I just really feel like, when it comes to people that I kind of like associate myself with, I don't care about their background. I don't care about what do they think of themselves and what are the choices they're making. They can choose wrong choices about their life. I wouldn't care because I know at the end of the day, if they're really a friend, and this is how I treat my friends, whether they made the right or wrong choice, I know I'll be there at the end. If you made a wrong choice, I'll support you either way. Then let's get up, get your shit together or something like that. I'm not just going to be like, because there's a lot of friends out there that they would befriend you because you follow them, because you listen to them, because you kiss ass, as they say. You just tell the good things. And I appreciate a lot more whether you have character that irritates me, but you're a person where I know that I could kind of like tell whatever I feel without you judging me that it comes from a negative. I'd rather have that than those. That's why I've changed of who I am, because I like this. I'm happier. I love myself more. I can show myself more. And those people that I've met, even in YouTube, people that I've met on YouTube, just accept that this is who I am. And in my part, there are probably characters that I have that I accepted to myself that I am bad at. Like I'm a friend who probably wouldn't talk to you for a month. You know, I'm that friend. I'll probably like, I'll be gone for a month and don't talk to you, you know? But when we talk, it's as if nothing happens. I wouldn't think about it. That's who I am. And I want the same friend like that, you know? How about you, Reddy? But before that, I have a question for you. Let's go to the live chat. So I had been in the situation I have to cut everything to save myself. Exactly, holiday trip. You know, like if something is not working in your life and you've made it one time, two times, three times, four times, you've tried and tried and tried and tried, and it's still the same outcome, that means you're doing something wrong. So get out of your comfort zone. Get rid of things that you don't think that will help you. And that's just what I think of it is. And self-love for me means me first, no matter what. I like that. It's okay. I'll be your friend. Oh, hello, hello. Please welcome back, Servo.
Hello
I
again.
didn't notice you. I'm sorry, Ayan. And also, you made me think about maybe the wrong is in me. Yeah, I don't care anyway. I don't like to have numbers of friends. Why you have to keep this kind of person, I see. Who? I'm not keeping persons like that anymore. Don't worry, holiday trip. They're all in the garbage. I forgot about them, you know. So, for you guys, I have a question for you guys. So, stereotypically, they say women are emotional.
They
But
are, yeah,
when it
I
comes to
agree. They are. Everything you just said now, it was, I've picked up that ICEE. I've picked up that you're someone who values personal interrelations. You are someone who's family centered, and you love having close, intimate relationships with people, and you want people to be there for you as you are for them. And from everything you've just said, that's really what I picked up. And yeah, women are more emotional. I think.
but I have to like disagree on one though. Like I don't
Yeah.
really expect people to be there for me.
Oh.
And that's what
Oh.
I'm
Why
saying.
is that?
It's like I don't. Cuz just like the same thing as, the independent woman, you know. Like for me independent woman just means you're a survivor. Whatever happens, you're just gonna survive as a woman. Hence, independent woman. You know, whatever happens, you'll be all right. But at the same time, it's like nowadays, independent woman is it means different,
Yeah,
different.
it's almost become like it's a movie trope at this point. The big strong woman that don't need no man for her whole existence.
Oh, I need
Yeah,
men.
yeah.
If I can
Be
have a
like,
lot of men, I
good
would.
luck with that.
Yeah.
No
But I
woman
see.
is independent. Yes.
Yeah, but I think also with this whole independent women thing, I think it's one of those philosophies that trend for a while, because I think within every era or within every period, there's always something. Right now, the whole movement of the passport bros is taking the internet by storm. Prior to that, there was, women empowerment.
You're shaking your
There's
head,
always something.
sir.
Yeah, there's
I've
always something. Yeah, within the next 5 years, the whole passport bro movement and the whole manosphere movement is all gonna pass, and something new's gonna come up. But I think during those times, it's important for you not to really get stuck on things that are trending, but to really look at things holistically and from a long-term point of view, because you wouldn't want to tie yourself to a philosophy that's only relevant for a certain period. and that won't serve you within the next 40 years of your life, if you know what I mean.
That's why
And
I
to
do what
So
I
add
do.
with that, yes, and to
yeah,
add with that, and that's why, like when it comes to like, for example, YouTube, just to explain this, hopefully in a simpler way. Like in YouTube, a lot of people wanted to be viral, trending, so that they got a lot of views, right?
yeah,
And I had this conversation earlier when, like, because one of the videos I got a lot of interaction with, which is Passport Bros. And, like one side of me is saying, like, according to YouTube algorithm, you have to follow up on this because that what gives you views. But at the same time, I just really feel like Passport Bros is just a noise. There's a real root of the problem that not being discussed because of the term and because this is all noise. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like I had a Passport Bro come along
nah,
and then explained the black culture and stuff like that. And
nah,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not,
no,
don't try to kind of like, just because this is the trend, this is what you're gonna do.
All right,
I'm
guys.
just
I
saying
don't.
my purpose
no, no.
is what?
I gotta run, guys. I actually probably gotta
Oh,
call it here on stream.
yes,
Yeah, I'm.
yes.
I'm sorry. My fur dog boy is like basically telling me that I'm gonna bug the living crap out of you if I don't go start spending time with him. So it has been awesome chatting with you both. It was awesome to finally put
But
a.
Serbo, you have to invite them before you go. I know you're running, and I'm
Yeah,
sorry if I keep you away
no,
from your dog a long time. This is supposed to be an hour only, but Serbo, let them know what you're going on with your life, and if they can see you anything, if you're doing online personal trainer, the floor is yours.
okay. Uh, right now I'm trying to get everything organized. I'll just goofily say that. I currently do not do much advertising for my fitness coaching, but it's a work in progress. But for the moment, the best way to keep up with me is probably my Instagram, which is the Natty Nerd, just all one word connected. You'll find me on there. I haven't posted a whole lot, but anyone who's interested in getting into shape, fitness, I take clients from all walks of life, a real ragtag team, if you will. Um, I'm here to help. My ideal world is everyone is healthy and a long living, luxurious life. I want to help everyone I can achieve that. Um, and if you're interested in any more of like my kind of fitness journey myself, and just want to talk to someone, if you're interested about anything like that, type of thing, the Natty Nerd is definitely my Instagram, the best place to find me. You can follow me here on YouTube, but I literally haven't put anything up here for my fitness stuff yet. My other one that you can do is my Twitch, where it's not so much fitness oriented. It's just me ranting and raving about pop culture and wall gaming. I'm a huge nerd and a geek, always have been. So if you're into that kind of stuff, gaming, comics, tech and geek, tech stuff, computers, electronics, I'm open to rant and rave, talk, chat about whatever there. And you can find me there at Twitch TV or twitch.tv/ servo underscore and then survivor is spelled SURV1VER. Yes, I had to spell it wrong because someone else took that name. Anyway, thank you guys for having me. I see fit. It was awesome to chat with you. 100%. It was awesome getting to put a face to a name and a voice too. Wish you all the well. Wish you both all the well in the world. And yeah, I don't know. I talk too much. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Servo.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Servo Survivor. And of course, all the description links that he said will be in the description box down below. So check him out, talk to him. And I hope if he's going to watch this on replay, I hope we can have a one-on-one with Servo, like a hot seat, so we can have more. Servo Survivor, have a nice day with your dog. And again, Servo, keep in touch. Let me know if you are ready for a hot seat, not just like an open mic chit chat, but a real one on one hot seat guesting. If you're ready for that, if you're interested with that, Servo, please let me know. How about you, ready? When are you going to be my one on one guest? Like hot seat. Are you interested in that?
Uh, I don't know. It depends on your audience if they want to see me. But it seems like
Oh,
Lee
God.
is very popular in your show. I doubt if your
Guys,
audience
let me
would
know,
want to
guys,
listen
in
to
the
you.
comment down below if you want Freddy to be our one on one guest next time. Totally, and will do. Thank you, sir. For have a nice day in there. So, we'll definitely schedule that. How about you, Reddy? Do you have any social media that people can interact with you?
Um, yeah, I have Instagram, but why would people want to interact with me? What's there to
I don't
you
know.
know?
Who knows? Maybe some Filipina ladies wants to talk with
Hey,
me. Yeah.
hey, okay, that's a good reason.
So you have to like you have to give us your IG so I can put it in the description box down below.
uh,
No,
it's
follow me
R
on
A.
IG. No, follow me on IG and then I can put it in the description box down below. How about that?
Right. Okay, no problem.
Okay. So, how about
Yes.
you, Reddy? Is there anything that you can tell to our audience or to the viewers who would watch this? Hopefully, guys, you watch this till the end. Is there anything at this point in your life that you can say you're in the process, or have you ever found yourself loving yourself? And any advice to all the young people out there or people that are in the same age as you are on how to love themselves?
Yes. So I read this book recently, right? And it's a book that's recommended by a lot of people. And my conscious, every time when I go onto the internet, there's always some influencer or some person who's very successful, who's who always quotes or cites this book as their source of source of success. And so 2 weeks back, I made a decision to read, to finally read this book after I read another one. And the name of the book is called The Seven Effects of Highly Successful People, right? And I see within, I think, 4, 5, 6 pages in, I felt the book move me inside. Um, the book teaches you how to look at things. It essentially says that people who allow themselves to be victims of things outside of control are the ones who really won't progress far. But those who move and operate within their realm of influence are the ones who will, and those who are proactive in whatever they're trying to achieve are the ones who get the furthest in life, you know? And, the book really just speaks about things that we know, but it goes deeper with insights, and it it touches on aspects of the topic that you may not have even considered. So so far, I mean, right now it's Saturday. I was invited at a party, and I decided not to go
Ooh,
because
why?
we had lunch with some people.
Oh, I
And
thought you didn't go because I have a live stream.
well, that's also a good reason.
That would be a good reason if you say it. I was
Yeah,
waiting for you to
yeah.
say that.
Oh,
Okay, rewind. So why didn't you go to the party? Say it.
yeah. Actually, well, that's not important. But I'd say that
It
it's the
was
book.
important.
The
No,
book.
no, go on. All seriousness, guys. He's serious. Go
Wait.
ahead.
The party or the book? Which one? Which one should I touch on?
No, the book. The book.
Oh, the book. Yes. So in terms of advice that I would give to people, I would advise people to read that book, the seven highly what the seven effects of highly effective people, and also just get in the habit of reading. There's really a lot of knowledge out there. There's someone who's achieved whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, who put their own experiences and how they overcame their obstacles and troubles, and it's written down in a book. Maybe I see you trying to be a better mother or a much effective mother. There is someone out there who wrote a book about that. Maybe you're trying to build your channel. There's someone out there who wrote a book about it. Whatever it is in life, there's someone out there who wrote a book about it. So really, in terms of development, I would advise people to read more, and also to read on topics that would advance whatever it is that they're trying to achieve. For instance, I wouldn't read about uh, golfing because I don't, I don't have an interest in, I don't have an interest in golf, and I don't really know the sport that well. But I read about uh, countries. I read about, I read self-help books. So yeah, so I think in terms of giving people advice, I would say read more.
Hello? You still there?
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I think I think it got lagged. No, the thing is, you were right. Like for me, I remember very, very well when I started trying to pivot how I wanted my life is. And well, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story, guys. Okay, why you're rolling your eyes like that? Don't roll your eyes like that with me.
Okay, sorry.
No. Really, but I knew a lot of shout Africa love golfing. I He knows a lot of African that love golfing. Yes.
Um,
But the thing is like when I started to pivot my life is when I read one book, and for the love of me I cannot remember. I'm bad at names when it comes to albums, music, songs and stuff like that. But I've read this book. It's just this square. It's like square, super small. And sometimes I actually feel like it's supernatural, that it's probably a book that's just, left in there for me to read. And by the time I've read it, it's just gone. It's just a nice thing in my head that makes me feel special. Because the next time I kind of like wanted to borrow it because I borrowed it from a library in Japan. When I'm trying to borrow it to kind of like, make my friend read it, it's gone. Like you cannot find it. And the thing is, you have these log things on your kind of like library card, right? It's not even there too. So for me, it's like that's kind of weird because I know I've read it. Who is your favorite writer? My favorite writer is Paulo Coelho, a
oh,
Brazilian writer. And since we're talking about book, another book that I pretty know that changed and pivot my life as well is reading Alchemist. The Alchemist.
Oh.
It's just,
Oh.
yes, it just depends on how you kind of translate it as you read it. But that
Mm,
book really speaks to me in another level. That
mm,
opens, it's almost like, if you ever been into like, you know, well, I've never been in soul searching or like, those people that has hallucinogenic trips like that. But I feel that book makes my brain just kind of like open up to more stuff. So I
mm.
think
Wow.
reading these
Wow.
experiences we're having, talking to
Mm,
people, for me, this is
mhm.
what makes my life happy,
Mm.
Because
Really?
the thing is like, like what you said earlier, when you
Yeah.
say something like for successful people, right? The influence
Yeah.
around you or something like, for me, that's how I explained it.
Yeah.
You people that I talk to, you guys in the live chat, you sharing your stories with me in the live chat, spending time with me in this live stream, you just don't know how much of your experiences makes me think of the world. I
Mm,
get to appreciate little things, and that makes
mm,
me happy. Like
mm.
I'm pretty sure all of us, probably most of us, our goal is to have a happy life, knowing that
Absolutely.
we spend our life worthwhile and we have no regrets.
Mm,
And for me, you guys' stories, experiences, observations, cultures, different beliefs, different perspective, that makes me decide of what path I'm going to choose or what
mm,
choices I would make in my life. Like, for example, as a parent, I listen
mm,
to parents, mother or fathers that I feel like they did good with their kids.
mm,
Those people, when they criticize me, when they tell me advices, I listen intently because
mm,
they have the footsteps, they have the blueprint. So might as well follow these little things that might make me a good parent as well. So
mm,
those are the things that I feel like a lot of us, and that is what I want ICFit channel to be. A community where all of us can talk everything without judgment, and if you are going to talk something rooting in a negative outlook on life, good for
mm,
you. But I know all of you that are watching this one and still staying tuned till the end. I know that you want a better life, and that's all I want for everyone.
mm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it's very interesting when you say that you're listening to our stories and different backgrounds and you know and you are forming your own opinions and your own worldview based on how we experience the world. So we are basically uh, your messengers of the world, right?
Yes.
So yes, so I see me coming from South Africa, uh, going to South Korea, and me coming from Britain, going to Japan, and having all these people from different countries. How has that impacted you, and how do you see yourself being different from a person who's like you, who's a parent, who only surrounds themselves and only speaks and only engages with Japanese people who they are familiar with. How are you different to them from your experience?
Meaning as a parent or just a whole
Yes.
person?
Yeah. Just or how does your worldview differ from theirs?
The thing is, I feel like, and I'm not trying to like, because in my opinion, everyone goes through phases of maturity, right? Of how they can comprehend a certain situation or like topic or issues, right? Not everyone can understand other perspective the way the other person can. But the thing is, I feel what makes me kind of like different, but I don't really like saying different because I just really feel if I can do it, you can too. That's how my
Okay.
perspective is. That's why it's really hard when people tell you, I cannot do it. Because for me, if I can do it, you can too. That's how I view things. But knowing like the level of mental awareness, self awareness of people are different, mental strength of people are different. I just really feel like what different about me is like I can put myself in your shoes without really understanding and feeling. But the thing is, I think I'm trying to comprehend even the things that I will never understand, you know, because there are things that I will just never understand. No matter how hard I try, it won't. Because especially if that's your feelings, I can never reason with other people's feelings. That's their feelings. But at the same time, I think I can comprehend and put all them together and just kind of like reach out to other people that you can have it here in IC Fit. Like you can tell things, but I want you to understand once you're in this, you have to understand all of us wants to be better. So if you want to attack someone because of their belief that is not according to yours, then I don't think this channel is for you because I want everyone to feel that it's not about being right or being wrong. It's just about understanding each other of what we're coming from. So we can actually kind of like interact with each other without this hatred or without this judgment. Because we have judgments, obviously. We do judge each other, but at the same time, we can learn to understand and comprehend other people. And I think that's what I just wanted to have in this channel as much as I can.
But I see. To me, it sounds like you think that debates and people not agreeing with what you're saying. I think you see that as something bad. Whereas
No,
you know, oh, okay,
no, I don't. That's why I always tell, right? It's okay to agree to disagree. But what I don't like is when, like, because with mine, I'll probably like say something. If I think you're wrong, I'll say my piece. I'll say my opinion. I laugh out at you. But at the same time, that's it. I will not take it personal. That's it. That's a conversation. And we're in a live stream where we have to also entertain our viewers. This is not a
oh yeah,
private kind of thing. So you have to
yeah,
understand
yeah,
as a host, it's not just
yeah,
my guest. There's a lot
yeah,
of priority in place. So for
yeah,
me, it's to agree to disagree. I just want if
yes,
our opinions doesn't melt or like merge, I want the
yeah,
viewers to know there are options. You can agree with him,
yes.
you can agree with her. It's up to you. It's your life. Choose what's best for
Yes.
you. And that's all I wanted.
Oh,
And that's
oh.
why I
So
feel like
that's
I play devil's advocate because I have to think outside the box. This is not just me. This is all of you guys. And everyone has different stories. So you have to kind of like understand those type of stuff. That's good to do to comprehend. I don't care. I see. Anyway, I know, but sometimes when it piques your interest, it's just really, really nice to kind of like, why? You know, have you ever had ready, like, for example, there's something on your mind and you cannot shake it off because you have to know the name of it. And then you started Googling it just to find out what's the name. And then the
yeah,
satisfaction was like, okay, that's what I
yes.
feel.
yeah, yeah.
That is what I feel when I cannot comprehend, or like when someone is trying to explain something but I can't understand. I think
Mhm,
part of me just really wanting to listen. Like, where are you coming from? What is it? I think
mhm.
that's kind of like a thing with me.
So you're someone who's curious to know about,
Yes.
who's curious
Anything
to
about
understand the
life.
world around you. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what I want. And I just really feel that's way more colorful. Like, I feel like life would be more worthwhile if you spend it with a lot of information, with, like how you grow. Because some people would stop growing, they
Mm,
settle. This is just where they are. I want to know more. I want to experience more. And me, being in different countries, I just really feel like there's more out there.
yeah, yeah.
How about you,
That's
Radine?
true.
Now that you're out of the country, what are, like, recently in your life have you been trying to be better at?
Um, yeah, it's well, obviously, well, I see you don't know this, but I'm also an avid. I also work out a lot. For the past 6 months, ever since arriving in Korea, on average, I've been at the gym twice a day, from Monday to Friday. So I'm an avid gymmer. Um, and I've recently started to incorporate rice in my diet. And what I
Ooh.
do is I eat a lot of rice with meat, rice, and I've been seeing positive results. I'm gaining weight, plus I'm going to the gym. So, I love the shape of my body. Plus, I'm a bit heavier. I go to the gym a lot. I'm starting to read, but reading can be tiring sometimes. And also
Mhm.
friends, but that's one department that I'm really struggling with. I don't have the patience that you do with people. That's something that I'm working
Ooh.
on. Yeah, understanding people and placing myself in their shoes, and I'm more of someone who's like, I love debating and combating and confronting people, but I've
I
learned that
used to do
people
that.
don't. Yeah, so I'm learning that people don't like that. People really want someone who's understanding, and someone to have a good. So because of that, I've been struggling in that department, but I'm really working on it. But that's not my main priority. My main priority is to make as much money as I can, and invest it in my real estate, uh, real estate
Ooh.
goals. Because by the age of 40, I really do want to be retired. And hopefully find a Filipino wife. Um, but yeah, yeah, that's it. I'd say it's gym. It's working out. It's improving my qualifications. I feel like if I had more certifications, and maybe an extra degree, it may improve my pay potential. Yeah. So that's the thing that I've been working on, and yeah, yeah, I think that's it. I think.
Yeah, and I think, being man, I think sometimes I feel like, the fighting. I That's why I said some people don't think of me as feminine, because I have that character. Like, back in the day, I used to debate a lot. Like, somebody, actually, my mother even called me dogmatic, because if you don't give me the right answer where it would
Yeah.
make sense to me, I wouldn't accept
Yes.
that, and I would reason to death. But now,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
as time passes by, and understanding that all people, at the end of the day, your life is your life. It doesn't affect me. So I don't really
Yeah.
care, you know. So by then, if I this is and I don't know if it's going to help you kind of like get better on tolerating people when it comes to this. This is how I did it. Is like for me, my mindset is if a person wants to accept information, you know, not a person who wants to be know it all, because I don't like those types of people. I'm not gonna even waste time debating on those people because it's not worth it for me. There's a lot more people out there that would actually wants to communicate and exchange information with me rather than spending my time with people that just wanted to prove themselves right. I don't need those people because I want a community where everyone can share
Oh,
their stories, their life experiences, you know, their knowledge, you know, about
yeah.
life, how they did it. That's what matters to me. It doesn't matter to me whether
Oh.
you're, you know, just a janitress. I don't care, you know, because sometimes real people real life experiences comes from people that actually did a lot of struggles in their life. So yeah.
So you're saying that the point where you changed was when you wanted a community. When you realized that community was more important than being right, that's when you made the switch.
Well, when it comes to YouTube, I said community, but you know, the
Oh,
change before then is just because I want to get better. I want a happy life, peaceful life,
oh,
you know,
oh.
better me, you know, loving myself because I'm very, very comfortable of who I am. That's what I try to change little stuff here and there.
So do you think people who like debating haven't accepted themselves for who they are? Do you think that they're insecure, kind of?
Say that again.
The people who love confrontation and the people who always feel the need to be right, do you feel as though they are, insecure with themselves?
Well, there's a lot of like, at least in my observation, and I'm not doctor, okay? So I'm saying this, people, okay? But before I answer that, Holiday Trip is asking, can I say something to our guest if it is okay? Is that okay if he says something?
Yes,
Holiday Trip something to you? He
yes.
says, okay, Holiday Trip. Go ahead. And Daniel Corhunin, welcome, welcome to ICEE Fit. So the question is, well, one is like, I think when it comes, like for me, for example, you know, back in the day, that's why I feel like I wanted to be right. One is if you're a teenager always thinks they're right and they know the whole thing about the world and nobody is right before them. All teenagers think like that. Second is that because their ego, once you get out, you know, and the thing is, ego is good at a point, you know, but when you're talking, you want to be right just to prove everyone is below you. And that's my problem. So I think it's more on ego because you want to be, I don't think it would be insecurity. I think that's the least factor of it. I think it's just more of you just wanted to be, well, a lot of people want to be admired. So it's just ego. Like to just kind of like simplify and sum it up, I think it's just your ego talking. And I think that's why a lot more men, I feel like, wanted to be right all the time. And now I feel like there's a lot more women too wanted to be right all the time. So everyone wants to be right all the time. So I
But
think
I
that's,
see, yeah,
go
I
ahead.
see, when I think the reason why I debate the reason why I'm so confrontational is because I feel as though like I want to be understood, and
I get that part.
people, yeah, because people sometimes treat you how they would treat themselves, or people sometimes treat you how they would how treat you in a way that they think is 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 the right socially acceptable way of treating someone, right? And in your mind, it's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but you know, with me, like I don't want to be treated like that. I want to, special, a different kind of treatment, and that's where the differences come in. You know, I'm not sure if you understand. It's like sometimes I get a little frustrated when the people who I interact with the most, you know, it, you know, it, it's like,
Cannot understand you.
yeah, it's like I feel like I'm sacrificing by agreeing with some of the things that you do, right? And I feel like I could be doing better, but instead I'm here pleasing you, and you don't understand how much it takes out of me to accept the things that you're doing, right? And then in return, I don't get, I like I it's like I'm not getting what I want from this person. So I think that's where the confrontation and debates come from, because I expect better. I it's
So
just
the
hard
thing
for me to
is, this
explain.
is so based on what you're saying, this is just, I'm not saying this because, like I want to be right or wrong. This is just my observation. Based on what you're telling me, I just feel like you put expectations on people you talk to.
Yes, yeah,
And the thing is, I think one of the things that a lot of us feel so disappointed most of the time, I feel like, is when we expect something. And I know expectations are always going to be there. But at the same time, when you talks about like you trying to understand, or like you want them to understand you, right? But
yes,
at the same
yes.
time, it's like, did you ask yourself, do you also understand their point of view?
I do, I do understand their point of view, right? But what they do is that they wouldn't try, and they like I would try and understand their point of view, and when I communicate what I want, they would say, no, that's too much, or no, you know, that's
Well, the
just too
thing is,
much.
I think,
That's
when
just
it
too much
comes
to
to
bear.
like, when it comes to
Yeah.
communication, and I think, for the past year of live streaming, one of the things that I understand very well is choosing your words. If you want to put some message out there and you want other person to understand you, you have to choose your words. And that's hard. And that's why a lot of people cannot communicate with each other, even though they have the same language, is because of the choices of the words they use, you know, and also where it comes from. And I think when
No,
it
I
comes
see.
down to you, you want them to understand you, but at the same time, whatever you're struggling with, you making them understand is like, you wanted to be right. You wanted to be seen, right? You wanted to be seen. You wanted to be understand. But trying hard sometimes when it comes to other people is almost kind of like a gamble, I think.
Yeah,
Because when it comes to other people, it's not just you. They're a whole different person. You cannot expect them to do anything for you, you know? All you
No,
have
no,
to
no.
do is kind of go on.
I see. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I see. What I realized was that the things that I want are valid, right? The things that I want are, it's sometimes maybe asking for too much, but the things that I want are real. So what I discovered was that the people where I am cannot provide me with the things that I need. And so what am I going to do about it? Am I going to continue putting pressure on these people to give me what I want? Or am I simply going to, get up and leave? I mean, am I simply going to get up and leave and go elsewhere and and try and find the people who will give me what I need without hassle? I mean, I left South Africa in search of better opportunities. And now that I'm here and and I got exactly what I want, moving forward, there's something else that I want. And where I am, I'm not getting that. So what does that mean? It means I have to move again, and seek whatever it is that I'm looking for. And once I find that, there's probably something else that I need. There's probably something else that I need that I didn't know that I needed at first. And I think that's what life is all about. It's always, you're always trying to seek whatever it is that you're lacking. I think that is the meaning of life, I guess, or I think that's how people progress, I think.
Okay. Oh, you're so
Yeah.
cute. Hold on. So they're talking about here. Holiday Trip says, I stopped debating with people. You know why? They don't make me rich. I just keep what I knew and shared to those who like to have it. See? Yeah, why not? Right? Holiday Trip. Then you won't be called someone who mess with other people's lives. Because the thing is, when you're trying to tell people what to do, sometimes you're just helping, and then it would turn out you will become the bad or the villain of their life. So, just kind of like, if it's needed, then go ahead. If it's not, then it's not, things like that. I think that's just how life is. And hi, Felipe from Daniel Carhunen. So, with your saying, I think, just what you said, I just kind of felt like when it comes to life, I feel like a lot of people have different meaning of what makes their life worthwhile, you know. And that's why I'm saying when it comes to like trying to find and loving yourself is, for example, with you, what are you going to do? If these people that you expect this coming from cannot give it to you, what do you do? And for me, at least in my part, what I did is, even though I know it's out of my comfort zone, even though I know it's going to be hard at first, I did it anyway because I know that I want to be better. I want to find what I'm looking for. But this is where the thin line comes down to. You have to be realistic because there's a lot of people who aren't, you know. Just try to explain of what goals you have. Like for example, if your goal is, like money wise, and
Yeah.
your dream is to have a lot of money saved up and retired, right?
Yeah.
But you're looking for a job that is not fit for your qualification. That's not realistic. Those little things. Or, like, for example, for a marriage or a partner, you are looking so hard for something that realistically you cannot have. So you have to change something. And that's why there's a saying, the constant thing about life is change. Everything is changing. That's why you have to also change for the better. For the better. And what better means It's only up to you. You are the only one who knows that. But there are influencers out there that you just really have to be smart about whether you follow them or not. I think that's what makes the difference, you know. And I'm just happy that, you know, I think I'm smart enough to know who I follow to, you know, like smart enough and basically lucky enough to have people that influence me throughout the years of being, you know, who I am right now. And hopefully, the past years, I've learned how to tolerate people just like you. The same thing with me. I struggle talking to like people that are just like, no offense meant, but you know, like there are moments when your mental, you know, doesn't reach to the other people. Like we're not the same mentally. We can, I cannot, you know, but you know, now I know how to tolerate it. You know, like I'm trying hard to get better on tolerating those little things that I know I cannot tolerate. So I'm still trying. I'm struggling sometimes, but I'm trying, you know. And holiday trip, thank you, thank you. I really love this topic. And there's more. If ready, join me on one hot seat someday. Ready, when would that happen? You have to like, you know, keep in touch and make sure you
Yeah,
have all the 2 hour free time because now I'm overtime.
yeah,
Struggling is for real. Yes, definitely. So, you know, our last messages. Do you have any last message for tonight only, guys? No. Because in the Philippines,
yeah.
when we say last message, last words, everyone would be like, hold up. No one's dying, right? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not. So, any message, advice for all the people out there that are struggling to find themselves or find where they fit in or loving themselves, let them know what you think can help them.
Yes. Like I said, reading, reading, reading is a very powerful tool to help you rediscover you to your path and also understand your center and the core of who you are, right? For instance, I can tell that she's someone who's very family orientated and she's someone who values relationships and just, basic human interaction. That's basically the core of who she is, or that's what I've seen. She's really interested in people's stories um, and yeah, and for me, I'm money centered, not so much people centered, but I do also try and understand, but my main goal is getting money and retiring, so I think sometimes we need to understand ourselves and read books and place ourselves in other people's shoes, and by placing ourselves in other people's shoes, that would also help us better understand ourselves. But just always getting better, always progressing, even if it's something small. Just be better than what you were yesterday. That's the advice that I give to the viewers. And read books. I would love to read the book by The Alchemist. I've also heard that book being recommended thousands of times. After I read this one that I'm currently reading, I'm definitely going to read that one. But reading is very important. And yeah, that's it.
Ah, thank you, thank you. You should really, really read that one. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the best books ever. And there's a lot from Paulo Coelho, you know, like read all of his books if you want, because it's really, really like, you know, I don't like saying spiritual because, you know, it's kind of like sometimes it becomes cringy when you say it like that. But if you're feeling something like you want to find yourself, you want to open your mind, and reading definitely, definitely helps, you know. If only I can have library, I would have a library of all the favorite books I want to read, you know. So read,
Yeah.
guys, read. All the young people out there, don't just go on TikTok. Read books. There's audiobooks.
Yeah.
If you don't want to read, listen. listen to books, podcast, whatever, that would actually help you find your own self and actually really, really love yourself without denial. Just really love yourself because that's the most gift you can ever have in your life because you cannot love other people if you cannot love yourself. That's very, very cringy, but that's very, very true as well. So, at this point of your life, Reddy, do you love yourself?
I try to.
Hold on. It's not the naughty part, right? It's loving yourself for real, okay? The
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
spiritual one, not the physical one. Spiritual. What I'm talking about, spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, I eat healthy food, I work out, I work in a very respectful job, and that's teaching. Teaching is the mother of all professions. I eat healthy. I read. Yeah, I think so far I am loving myself. I take care of myself. I always like try to look neat and presentable whenever I'm out in public. I always clean my room. I'm always, you know, keeping a diary and schedule of things. I think I am loving myself. I think.
Good job. Good job. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, that's all I wanted to hear. And guys, if you
yeah.
don't love yourself yet, please let us know in the comments down below so we can actually answer and maybe try to understand you, help you, guide you, teach each other, in and outs of life. That's important. Community is very, 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 very important. It's part of life. So thank you, Reddy. Ayan, thank you, thank you. I know you're feeling tired now. You're feeling
Yeah.
sleepy now. So thank you so much. Next time you have to be my one-on-one guest. You have to be on a hot
Okay.
seat next time.
Yeah.
Let's set it up, okay?
Okay. No problem.
Okay. Now you have to teach me what is good night in Korea. Do you know now?
Uh, no, I know. I know. Um, hello in Korea, but I don't know what good night is.
Okay, so how about bye?
The
No.
only phrases that I know in Korean is hello and thank you, and that's it.
Okay, what's hello?
안녕하세요, and then you wave. 안녕하세요.
Okay, what's the other one that you know?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What's thank you?
감사합니다. And you say it with a
Oh,
smile.
okay.
You say it with a smile on your face. 감사합니다. And then you bow down. 감사합니다.
Uh
Yeah.
then you're ready for Japan. Arigato. We bow down as well. So, arigato
Oh,
gozaimashita. Ayan, arigato. We do that. Ayan. So, good
oh,
night. Good night, Radi. And I'll see you probably next week again. Have fun. Have
yeah.
fun on your weekends. Good night and have
Yes.
a sweet dreams.
You too, Icy. Thank you for inviting me to your show, and thank you
Thank
to
you. Thank
all
you. Thank you. It's been
who
always a
watched.
pleasure. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. So, guys, there it is. I know you have so much questions in your own head. Probably, if you stay tuned, you're probably thinking about your life as well. Hopefully, but if not, it's all right as well. Father Raman Alom is icy alo with you too. And of course, guys, just know that, like as much as how corny it is sounds like you really really have to love yourself realistically. That's kind of like one way to put it. And to start, easiest way to start on loving yourself is eating healthy, trying to exercise if you can, because that is the body you are going to live for your whole lifetime. So you have to take care of it. And taking care means loving. So if you want to love yourself, you have to take care of your body as well, your mind as well. You have to mentally take care of your mental health as well. And with that said, this channel is going to be here to stay, to be your life journey buddy, Ayan, because I want every one of us here in ICP to live happy life. What can we make out of our happy life, or our life, stuff that we can actually change mindset, change our mindset for the betterment of our well-being. That's definitely one of the things that I really want you to kind of like improve to yourselves as well, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, and of course, the last one, which is the enjoyable one, sexually. Yes, everyone should be sexually, mentally, physically, and emotionally fit. And I'm always going to be here for you guys. So if you have any questions, if you have stories to share, stories to tell, let me know. Connect with me on my social media. And if you still not subscribed to this channel, please do help me with my algorithm as well. Watch my other videos. I have so much live streams with different people, different stories. If there's anything, I also have fellow Filipinos on my guests. So if you want any of those things be translated to you guys, it'll be my pleasure to translate it with you. So please let me know in the comments down below. And thank you to all of you guys who's been here, staying tuned till the end. It's been a while of being 3 hours talking, just chatting. It's been a pleasure to meet all of you guys. Just know that I appreciate all of you. Your stories, everything is being taken care of in my own head. You know, that thing. Anyways, guys, bye bye. Ciao ciao. Minasan otsukare sama deshita. And again, see you next Saturday. I'll be here 9:45 Japanese Standard Time, and watch for my uploads because I'm gonna be having a lot of uploads this coming weeks. Ayan, watch my react videos, interact with me on those videos, and again, dito sa channel na ito, Brett Glass. So welcome, ICEE. You are awesome. Of course, you are all awesome too because you're all here. For me, you're all awesome. I love you all, guys. I really, really do. You give my weekend a really, really, really nice night. Thank you so much. I love you all. Dahil sa channel na ito, kayo ang Bida. Bye-bye, guys. Mwah, 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 mwah. Mwah. Love you all. And this is for you 100%. Mwah. Ciao, ciao. Bye. And Felipe G, thank you for all of the support. Bye bye, guys. Ciao, ciao, Pathuraman, Servo. Thank you for being such a wonderful guest. Hopefully, next time, one on one. Again, guys, bye bye. Last na to. Ciao, ciao. Bye bye. Oyasumi. Mwah.